And your host, Dana Pretzer.
Okay, we're back. This is the Dana Pretzer Show here on Scared Monkeys Radio. Someone who is not a stranger to crime reporting. In fact, he's done some stories on sting operations himself, is here to talk about this Holloway sting operation. His name is Mike Mcintyre. He's the host of Crime and Punishment and the website Mike on Crime. Hi, Mike. Welcome back.
Hey, Dana, good to be here.
Now, this whole Holloway, you and I have talked about the Holloway case, me on your show, you on mine, many times, and I never thought, although I knew that Dutch crime reporter Peter de Vries, who I will be interviewing a little bit later on tonight, would be coming out with the type of information that he did and the sting information that he brought out on Joran van der Sloot. First of all, your thoughts, and then we'll get into the gist of it.
Well, as a member of the media, I mean, you have to tip your hat to what this reporter has done. I guess it's a fine line, Dana, between covering a story and becoming the story.
Exactly.
But this is a situation that is very unique. This is a case that, if not for his efforts, it seems like would have been dead and buried. But his information that's been uncovered and has become public in the last couple of weeks has certainly cast a new light and perhaps injected new life into this case, a case that it seems like nobody is in much of a hurry to solve, other than the victim's family here, of course. And luckily, you've got a very aggressive reporter who has been digging, and has been able to uncover some interesting evidence is one way to put it. Perhaps a bombshell is another way to put it.
Well, I don't think anyone's surprised as far as van der Sloot, the arrogance of the statements that he made. Some are just flat out disgusting. But when you look at tapes like this and you look at the sting operation, and again, yeah, I agree with you. Hats off to Peter de Vries and his team for setting this up. There's a big difference between the type of sting operation that they were able to do here and what we call here in North America jailhouse confessions, where you put an undercover operative in the cell next to the guy that you want to confess, and it goes this way. The state, as far as we know, had nothing to do with this case, and it'll be interesting to see how far this goes in court. In fact, as of press time today, as of recording time right now, there's going to be a decision, I think, on the rearrest of Joran van der Sloot. We haven't heard that yet, but your thoughts on this type of case going forward with this type of information, because like you say, law enforcement dropped the ball right from the beginning, and this is pretty much all they've got. We think there could be more.
Sure, and the jailhouse confessions you talk of, I mean, they have come under all sorts of scrutiny in North America, as they should, because you've got often disreputable characters that are setting the trap. Here we have a reporter, I would assume not a disreputable character, someone who's simply digging for the truth. This isn't a career criminal who trapped van der Sloot into a confession. So it will be very interesting to see legally what becomes of this, because on one hand you have a more reputable source. On the other hand, though, this is something that was done, I suppose, freelance and not as part of a police investigation. Will that ultimately hurt it? I would like to think of the Holloway case that the further you can get from an actual police investigation, the more positive things get, because the police investigation has been a joke from the get-go. And so, this doesn't cast the police in a very good light, that you've got reporters going around doing the work that they should be doing. On the other hand, no doubt lawyers for van der Sloot here would make all sorts of challenges, and we've already heard some of the concerns coming from their camp, exaggerating, joking, what have you, and will it stand the legal test? I guess the other question, Dana, to ask is, even if you accept everything that van der Sloot is saying in these confessions, where does that leave us?
Yeah.
What are we still dealing with? Is this a murder? Is this an accidental death / cover-up? Is this a case of negligence? And I think that issue needs to be debated as well, because if we accept it, what are we left with?
Absolutely, and you as a crime reporter, as a radio host, you must come across cases like this, where all of a sudden some information comes your way and the loyalty line is drawn as far as, is this more important to the paper, to the story, or should I just hold it, give it to the police? Was Peter DeVries right or wrong to come forward with the blockbuster information, or should he have just handed it over? He's done both, and I can't blame him for that. But it's interesting, Mike, I'll put you in this role. All of a sudden, you work a case like this, law enforcement hasn't been able to do a darn thing, but you and your people are able to. What do? Do you release it to the paper first and then hand it over to the cops, or it's got to be a tough call?
Well, perhaps some theory, but I think at the end of the day, yes, your craft, your trade is important, and being a journalist is a very important trade. You're the eyes and the ears of the public. You unearth truths and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you're a human being, and a case like this, where someone has died, where you come into possession of information that could be extremely valuable in where this case and where the investigation goes. I mean, you have to come forward and you have to go to police with it. If you can tie in a story on it as well, hey, all the better to you. But I don't think this story is about, this isn't a reporter trying to make a name for himself.
No.
This is a reporter who's trying to get to the bottom of a mystery that, as I say, nobody else seems very eager to solve. And so I think he played this perfectly. He's not clinging to some kind of journalistic right and refusing to hand over information to police. And we have seen cases like that where reporters, refuse to disclose their sources because of the impact it may have on their profession. I think in this case it was a no-brainer. He had to go to police with what he had, turn over the tapes. At the same time, they've been able to obviously do stories on it, and pretty powerful stories,
Yeah.
and I think this looks good on not only him, but the entire journalism profession as a whole.
Absolutely.